And welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. I'm your host Sam, and before moving ahead, let me read out this very important disclaimer. By watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not legal advice, so use of information is at your own risk. All right, once again, guys, welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. And today, our topic is ready to start your American dream. Which immigration options are right for you? So, folks, millions of people around the world are actually dreaming of making their way to America. And for many, that dream is actually stuck, not because of the confusion or fear of the process, but also not knowing where to start. But you know what? It actually doesn't have to be that way. In fact, you just have to discover the right immigration options that are easier, clearer, and obviously more accessible than you think. So, today we are here to change the way you see your American dream and guide you through the process step by step, making it all less daunting. And to help you navigate through these choices and find the best for your dream, we have a very, very special guest with us today, joining us for the very first time, one of the best immigration attorney in America, Karen Lee Pollak. Karen Lee Pollak is the managing attorney of Pollak PLLC, an award-winning immigration boutique with offices in Dallas, Texas, and Florida. Pollak PLLC provides full-service legal immigration counsel to large corporations, small businesses, families, and individuals too. So, welcome, Karen, to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. It's truly a pleasure having you with us today, and obviously an honor to have you. So, how are you doing?
Hi, thank you, Sam, for having me on your show. It's an honor and privilege for me to be here today, and I'm excited to talk to you about all things immigration.
Absolutely, me too. Well, folks, I would also like to share that Karen is truly an all rounder. She is a frequent speaker, writer, author, and of course, highly skilled immigration attorney. So, Karen, you grew up in South Africa, right? And you did your schooling from there as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that is correct. I was born and raised in South Africa. I went to law school there. I then came to America. My father had he had been transferred for a job to Germany and then to America. I came over and I didn't actually intend to live here, but then I met my husband, who is an American,
Oh,
and the rest is history. We now have two adult children who are American citizens. So our life now is here in America. So I've been through the actual immigration process myself. So I know what a daunting task it is, not only from a legal perspective, but from an emotional perspective as well, to immigrate to another country.
absolutely. So, Karen, I think you are one of the best person, who can share with our viewers, like, what were the major challenges that you actually went through when you actually migrated to America?
I think the biggest thing is really getting the information up front to know what the process is going to be like to immigrate. What is the legal process? What is the mental process to go through? What paperwork do you need to get ahead of time? In certain countries, it can take a long time to get birth certificates, marriage certificates, name changes, things like that. So I think it's very important to know upfront what is the process like, what is the time frames that you can expect to go through the process, and what are the documents that are required.
Right, right. So, Karen, I think it's a great start. We have got to know about your background and also the challenges that you faced too when migrating to US. So, Karen, let's begin with our very first question of today's episode. That is, what are the main immigration options available for those looking to start their American dream?
Well, there are a number of options available, and different visas have different alphabet numbers. So we like to call it alphabet soup. There's visas that start with A all the way to the end of the alphabet. But the most common visas that we see in our practice is, first of all, family-based immigration, where a parent, spouse, or child over 21 can sponsor a family member for citizenship or permanent residency. And then there is also sibling sponsorship. Depending on the relationship between the sponsor and the beneficiary, that can take, if you're sponsoring a spouse and you're a US citizen, that can take a year. If you're sponsoring a brother or sister, that can take, right now, it's at least over 10 years to get citizenship through a sibling. So that's the first way we see immigration. We get a lot of cases which are marriage-based green cards, where a US citizen or permanent resident is sponsoring their spouse. We see parents sponsoring children, or adult children sponsoring parents. So that's the most common family way of immigrating to the United States. The next way we see job offers, where a US company offers a job to a foreigner. Those classifications are called EB2, employment-based 2, or employment-based 3 categories. Employment-based 3 categories are if you have a bachelor's and less than 5 years of experience, or you're a skilled worker, which has 2 years of experience, or an other unskilled worker for somebody who has less than 2 years of experience. That's the EB3 category. The EB2, or employment-based 2 category, is for people who have a bachelor's degree and at least 5 years of experience, and or a master's degree. Then also on the job realm is the intercompany transfer, which is an EB1 visa, employment-based 1. That is if the person is in a managerial position, they can be sponsored by a company in the United States that has a branch in a foreign country, or if the foreign company wants to open up a branch in the United States, they can sponsor somebody who is in a managerial position or has specialized knowledge or is an executive to come over to the new branch in the United States. So that's the job aspect. There is also the diversity visa lottery, where you can win a green card. That is only available to certain countries. India is not on that list. It opens every year in October. It's a lottery system. You can win a green card. Then the other common way that we see immigration is through the investment green card or permanent residency. That is called the EB5. You would invest $800,000 into your own business located in a rural area or high unemployment area. If you're investing in your own business and it's in a regular area, the amount is $1,050,000. There is also an investment in a regional center where the amount is $800,000. You would have to work with the regional center, which is a partnership with the government, where you would essentially be loaning them the money for a period of time. And that way you can purchase a green card. That is a permanent green card. And as I said, you'd be loaning them the money. There is also something called an E2 non-immigrant investment visa that's only available to certain countries. And that is if you invest $100,000 into your own business in the United States. That is a way of getting in. It does not lead to a green card in most circumstances. Visas are generally valid from 2 to 5 years and can be renewed indefinitely as long as the business is operating. So those are the most common ways that we see immigration to the United States. We also deal with aliens of extraordinary ability or national interest waivers, where people have risen to the top of their field and it's in the national interest to bring them to the United States. They don't need a job offer from an employer. So if you can satisfy the criteria, they're very tough criteria, that is a way to go for aliens who are of extraordinary ability. Some of the evidence that we would show is presentation at conferences, media about the beneficiary, publications in leading journals, high impact scores on Google, things like that.
All right. So I think Karen, you have already, given us in a very great way about the overview of the main immigration options, and I'm sure our viewers are literally getting an idea of how and what are the options that are available for them. So I think Karen, it was really great, and you also touched all the little details about each and every visas. So it was great, and of course, you're a great speaker. So it's very obvious that you literally spoke so good. And now, Karen, I would also like to know some of your political view. So, as we know that Trump has won. So, firstly, I would like to know that were you expecting Trump to win?
Um, well, I thought he had a good chance. I thought he had a good chance of winning. I did not believe he would win by an overwhelming majority that he did. And so that was a surprise to me that he won by that. In total candor, I will tell you up front, I'm not a Trump supporter. So uh, my answers may be biased in this presentation. But I did think he had a good chance of winning.
All right. So, Karen, how do you see America's future now in terms of immigration? Will it be a new era under Trump's administration, or will the immigrants has to have some kind of nightmare effect? What it will be?
Well, I think pros and cons, we've been through a Trump administration before. So we have had 4 years of Trump.
Mhm.
We know what to expect. And he is very knowledgeable. The people who he has placed under him who are going to head immigration are very knowledgeable about the procedures and the processes. That could be a good or bad thing depending on where you are in the spectrum. I do believe that he is going to make it a lot harder for immigrants. I think there's going to be a lot more paperwork involved, a lot more scrutiny, and there's going to be a lot more scrutiny, a lot more paperwork, and a lot more delays. Having said that, he's also has promised on day one to provide green cards to immigrants with master's degrees from U.S. universities. I'm not a betting kind of person, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. But I hope he proves me wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think an immigration attorney obviously want more and more green cards to be available for immigrants. But let's see what happens under Trump's administration, and we should hope for the best. Okay, so also, Karen, I would like to ask that you have given us the overview of different types of visa types, family-based and marriage-based green cards. So, out of these, is there any specific visa type that we should look that there will be some kind of major backlogs or that will be restricted under Trump's administration?
Well, in the last administration, in the family-based category, he required what was called public charge documents. It was called an I-944, I believe. My team will know the numbers better than I will, but I think it was an I-944 public charge document. You had to prove that you will not be a public charge or burden on the United States. We still do have an affidavit of support, but it's not as rigorous. I believe that he's going to bring that 944 back and or something similar to it, which is going to require a huge amount of financial information from the sponsor to show that they have the ability to sponsor the beneficiary and that the beneficiary is not going to be a burden on the United States. I don't do much immigration with undocumented immigrants, but I think that any relief that is available to them is going to go away in the next administration.
Right. And Karen, also we have seen in the recent news that we have been through that Biden is actually trying to help the immigrants, I mean, the undocumented immigrants to by, launching some ICE app or something like that. So I would like to know that, with the Biden administration's recent moves to loosen some immigration restrictions and also Trump's some potential second term promises, how this is going to impact people who are looking to start their immigration journey right now.
Well, I think it depends are you already in the United States? And if you are, what is your status in the United States? If you are legally in the United States, I would start your process as soon as possible. Or if you're outside the United States, start the process as soon as possible. If you can, in the next 60 days, I would do that. If you are in the United States without lawful status, I definitely would not file anything right now. I would stay under the radar, because anything that the Biden administration has done to grant relief to the 11.5 undocumented immigrants in the United States, or portions of that demographic, will be taken away. And I think it's better not to put your name and your details on any government website.
All right. I think that's very insightful, and that is something that our viewers should know. So thank you so much, Karen, for taking that up. And as you also mentioned, that some of the potential, I mean, impacts that the people are going through. So, what are some key strategies or tips that you would like to give to people who are looking to immigrate to US successfully?
I think the first thing is to really understand the process. What category do you fall into? What options are available to you in terms of visa processes? Is there more than one possibility available? What are the pros and cons of that process? What are the timelines or expected timelines for the process? Do you have deadlines? For example, do you have children who are turning 21 who may age out and not be able to be included with you? I think it's important to talk to an immigration attorney to really understand what your goals are, what the time frames are for your goals, if it is doable, and to understand what documents you would like. Often we get cases that we take over from other attorneys, and there are delays in getting documents that make people lose precious time, children age out, all sorts of scenarios. So I think it's very important to know upfront what you are getting into, and for the beneficiary to really understand the process and be an active participant with the lawyer in making that process go smoothly.
Absolutely, and it's really important to stay, updated with all the news that is happening right now. And also, guys, we are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter as well. So, in case if you still have any questions or doubts that you want to ask regarding the topic or anything related to immigration, then me and Karen are here for an hour. So please utilize this opportunity as much as possible, and we are definitely going to take them up. So, Karen, also, I would like to ask now some questions related to family based immigration. So, we,
Sure.
yeah, that, family based immigration has really been a hot topic in recent years, especially with the debates around chain migration. So, what are the most important things that families need to know when they are applying for visas like the K1 fiancé visa or family sponsored green cards?
Well, I think we also need to look at the administration that's coming in and what they have said. They are very anti what they call chain migration. I don't like to use that word, but that's a term that they've coined. And chain migration means that you're in the United States, so you can now bring your family. Um, I don't believe that they can just get rid of it on day one, but President Trump can sign an executive order. I believe that there would be litigation. So it would take really an act of Congress to do away completely with family sponsorship. I think it's relatively safe to say, although I don't have a crystal ball. If I did, I'd be in Vegas. I wouldn't be a lawyer. But I think it's safe to say that you still will be able to sponsor your parents and children. I think it is possible that Trump will take away the sibling category of sponsorship. But, the devil's in the details, and I don't think that an executive order alone can change immigration laws without there being a fight all the way to the Supreme Court.
Mhm. And Karen, I would also like to ask you one more question that we know that Trump is trying to implement a new law where if the parents are illegal immigrants, but if the child has been born in the US, then he won't be recognized as a US citizen anymore. Whereas earlier it was completely vice versa. So I just want to know your views. Do you think it's fair enough, or do you think that it should be, I mean, it's correct, just that? Yeah.
Okay, well, there is a concept which is called anchor babies, where people are coming to the United States where they have no ties to the United States, using taxpayer money to give birth to children in the United States for the sole purpose of having babies, and that has been abused. And I understand that there is some cause for concern. You can't come to another country, have your baby here, expect the taxpayer to pay for your hospitalization and everything else, and then leave the country just so the child can be a US citizen. Having said that, it is our law that if you are born on US soil, you are a citizen. I think it's going to be very tough to get rid of that.
Absolutely, and that is something that is literally very shocking and very different as well to understand. But let's see what happens. And okay, so Karen, let's move ahead with our next question. That is, what are the current status of the H1B visas, and what changes can applicants expect as competition for H1B visa rises? So, what strategies can applicants use to improve their chances of approval?
Well, there's no way to, I get asked this all the time, there's no way to actually improve your chances in the lottery system. The H1B is a lottery, it's an electronic, as far as we know, it's an electronic lottery system. So being picked in the lottery, there's no way to really improve your chances unless you have a US master's or higher degree. You'll have an extra chance in the lottery. That's a way to improve the lottery, increase your chances by having a master's or higher degree from a US university. But the actual system is computer generated, or that's what we've been led to believe, that it's computer generated and it's random. So there's nothing you can do to improve the actual process of getting selected. Having said that, once you're selected, it is very important that you work with a seasoned immigration lawyer, that you can have all your documents together for a successful H1B application. Make sure that the job description is in fact a professional occupation, that the person has the education and experience, that their degree is related to the occupation. If the degree is from a foreign country, that you have the degree evaluated ahead of time by a authorized credential agency that is recognized by United States Citizenship and Immigration Service. Having a support letter that thoroughly addresses the H1B regulations, that it explains what the company does, why the company needs this employee, how the employee relates to what that company does, and that finally the employee has the education and experience for the position. So the key, we see a lot of mistakes. People are lucky enough to get selected in the lottery, but then their application doesn't pass muster. I think under the Trump administration, there is going to be more scrutiny of H1B applications. So it's very important that you work with a seasoned professional who is going to be able to get together the best application possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. That has to be. So I think folks out there, I hope you're loving our session and you're loving all the insightful words that is delivering by Karen Lee Pollak. So thank you so much, Karen, for taking these questions and answering all them very patiently. So Karen, there's another question. What are the biggest challenges that people face right now in terms of green card processing, and how they can stay informed about the delays?
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head. The big problem right now is the absolute big delays in immigration processing. Processing times for certain countries have almost doubled. In fact, they have doubled. for countries other than India, the average wait time has gone from 2 years to 4 years. With India, thinks wait times can be up to 10 years waiting for a green card. And I don't anticipate that that's going to get better soon. I think, if anything, there are going to be further delays. We've also heard rumors that a Trump administration will freeze filings of green cards because of the delays. So certain categories may not be available at all to file in.
Oh my God, this is really shocking. But is it somewhere that Trump has said it, or is it like people are assuming?
That he speaks in code, for lack of a better word. So we don't know. He hasn't outright said,
Right.
I am going to freeze the visa bulletin, but he has alluded to the fact that there is a huge backlog, and he may stop immigration in certain categories until that backlog has been remedied. But we just don't know. We don't know. We have his architect of immigration is a guy named Stephen Miller. He is very knowledgeable of the immigration process and how it works. And he is the mastermind behind immigration. And he is very, very anti-immigration. He is a nationalist, and he believes we've got too much immigration. So he's got a clean slate board to do whatever he wants to do, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And also, Karen, as you mentioning about Stephen Miller, I would also like to know about the picks that Trump is picking for his administration. See, we obviously know that all of them are nationalist, very vocal, and obviously they will be loyal to Trump. But do you think that the way they are, the way they deliver, or the personality they are having, is this going to benefit America?
It depends on which side of the fence you're on. If you're anti-immigration,
Mm-hmm.
um, then yes, that's going to be, and you don't want any immigration to the United States, any anti-immigration administration is going to be advantageous. Just
Absolutely.
depends on which side you see. The Trump administration campaign ran on millions of people coming in daily to the United States illegally, and he's going to stop that. And that's his primary concern. His primary concern is not legal immigration. It's not business immigration. It's not job sponsorship or investment into the United States. So if you are undocumented, I would be very concerned.
Absolutely. And I think they need to be updated and they need to be thorough with all the information, all the policies that is being updating. So, also, Karen, is there, I mean, we obviously know that there's going to be a very tough time for illegal immigrants. So, what about the legal immigrants? Are they also going to be affected by Trump's administration, or they'll have a normal, how they are having now?
Definitely going to be affected if the laws don't change for legal immigration. I do expect delays. I do expect daily executive orders coming out. Whether they'll be enforceable or not, we'll have to see, which will change the laws and the way and the processes and procedures for filing for non-immigrant and immigrant visas. So, there's a Chinese curse and it says, may you live in interesting times. And we definitely will be living in interesting times. I know in the last administration, I'd have clients calling me and go, what does this executive order mean? How does it impact me? And I'd have to say, hang on one moment. It's 3,000 pages. I'm on page 3 and it came out 5 minutes ago. So we will definitely have our work cut out for us.
That might be so hectic, right? To answer all of them at one. And I think people are so much restless now. They all are like, what is going to happen? Are their identity is going to be safe, or is there something new? So I think, Karen, you have to answer and you have to go through these situations, I think, very often, right?
Right, right, right. So he will definitely make our work cut out for us. But on the positive side, he has said, as you know, I've already told you, it doesn't make sense to have people educated in the United States and then afterwards they've got to rely on a random lottery, or they've got to leave the country. So basically, we are educating these people in America, and then they can't stay. So they take some of the best and brightest are not allowed to stay, and they've got to leave the country, and they start businesses in other places of the world. So we lose those businesses. A lot of US companies saying we can't rely on a workforce that is determined by a lottery. So they're offshoring a lot of work. So it's actually taking jobs away from America. And President Trump has alluded to the fact that he understands that and will rectify it for people who get degrees in the United States. But again, proof is in the pudding. We'll have to see.
Absolutely. And with Trump, it's completely unpredictable. We can't rely on him completely. We just have to, keep our fingers crossed and see what's going to be the next step of Trump. All right. So, till now, I think we have almost touched a good amount of portion of today's topic. And Karen, we also have, some of our viewers who has joined us on today's episode. And hi, Riz. Hi, Ritika. Hi, Sahil. Welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. So I think, Karen, let's take one question from Riz. So,
Okay.
so Riz is asking that I'm Australian citizen and my partner is American citizen. We plan to marry in America. I'm wondering when she file a petition for me, how soon will this be approved and when do I get working rights? I think it's somehow similar situation to you as well, right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm saying that you were also earlier in South Africa, then you get married, want to get married from American citizen, and then you, right? It's almost the similar process.
Well, I went through a roundabout way in that I did H1Bs as well. So,
Mhm.
but yes, I understand the question. You're an Australian citizen and you immigrating. Sorry, that's my associate, my dog, who's in the background. So forgive me on that.
Okay.
Um, so um, you're marrying a US citizen and you're going to do that in the United States. Generally, the process is taking a year. You would file the application. I'm sorry. I've got to just let this dog out. I apologize.
That's absolutely fine. So, guys, in case if you still have any questions or follow up, then Karen is here, and I think your dog is not in your room, right?
Sorry about that. So I'm working from home today. So um, that's my associate. My senior associate is my dog. So, but my real team is my dream team, and they're located in Dallas, Texas. So coming back to your question, my apologies, is if you're an Australian citizen and you get married in the United States to a American citizen, the process is taking about a year, is the typical timeline that we have advised clients. Within a month of filing, you will get receipts and a notice to go for fingerprinting. At the 6 month mark, you will be given work authorization. So you can start working 6 months after filing. At the 9 month mark, you would be issued a travel permit. And at the year mark, you would be scheduled for an interview. That is the typical timeline. However, lately, under the Biden administration, we have seen that people are getting their green cards in 6 months. So they are not issued a travel permit and they're not issued work authorization. They're going straight to getting a green card after 6 months. So that has been exciting. I don't expect that to carry on in the next administration, but I may be wrong.
Absolutely. All right. So thank you so much, Riz, for your question. And in case if you still have any follow up or would like to share any topic that we would like to have discussion in next videos as well, please go ahead and we are happy to have them all. Okay, let's take from Sahil another question. So Sahil is actually saying I'm currently on an H1B visa, but I'm considering starting my own business. What are my options for transitioning to an entrepreneur visa and what are the key requirements?
Well, that depends, Sahil. First of all, you can open up your own company on an H1B visa. You can own shares in a business on an H1B visa. You can earn dividends on an H1B visa, but you cannot work for the company on an H1B visa. You can only, as you may know, work for the sponsor of your H1B. So options for you will also depend on where you are from, where you are a citizen of. A possibility could be an EB1, Alien of Extraordinary Ability visa, where if you can show that you are an alien of extraordinary ability, you can open up your own business, as long as it's in the field that you're an expert at. There is the EB5 investment visa if you have the funds to invest in a business and get a green card. Depending on where you are from, there is also the E2 non-immigrant visa if you invest $100,000. And then there is also a startup visa if you have funding from a US entity.
Right. Okay, so thank you, Sahil, and thank you, Karen, too, for your answer, and Sahil for your question. Karen, I would like to ask a follow-up question from this. Like, we have seen more interest in the E2 investor visas. People look to build businesses in the US. So, can you explain the types of businesses that typically succeed in securing it? And of course, with the current state of the economy, how might changes in investment opportunities affect the E2 visa process?
I think as long as we have the NAFTA and North American Free Trade Agreement in place and agreements with the various countries, I don't think that will change, because the E2 is creating jobs for US citizens or people lawfully in the United States. We have seen E2 success across the gamut with all sorts of businesses, from cleaning businesses to franchises to restaurants, real estate, B&B, bed and breakfast. All sorts of businesses qualify for E2 visas. We've seen people who are personal trainers, that kind of thing, all have been able to get visas.
Right, right. So I think that's really great, and that's really insightful. Okay, so let's take our another viewer's question from K. Vishwanathan. So he's asking Karen that I'm currently at L1 petition stage. Is that difficult now with Trump? And what's the next option or steps cliff my GC with family?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part? He's on an L1.
Yeah, I'm repeating it again. Its question is I am currently at L1 petition stage. Is that difficult now with Trump? And what's the next option or steps cliff my GC with family?
Okay, well, first of all, you have to get the L1 petition approved first. I assume that he meets all the criteria for that. Once he's in the United States, then if he likes it, depending on the strength of the company, how many employees they have, what their revenues are, they could immediately sponsor him for a green card. If he's in a multinational managerial position, we often get L1 approval and then go immediately and turn around and file the green card. It will depend, though, on how many employees are in the business already, if it's an existing US entity already, or if if the business is only starting up. Then the L1 if the business is only just starting up in the United States, the L1 will be issued for 1 year. We like to get the L1 renewed after that 1 year so that the person has 3 years in L1 status, and then we turn around and apply for the green card immediately. Because if they satisfy L1 renewal criteria, then it's likely that they'll satisfy the EB1 criteria. We don't typically do an EB1 for a company that hasn't already set up and established offices in the United States. with at least some employees, at least 10 employees.
All right. So thank you, Vishwanathan, for your question. And Karen, we have another question from Cable Cross. So he's asking, good day. I am a Jamaican citizen, F11 visa category, and documentarily qualified since February 2023. So how long does it take to get an interview?
So I'm not sure what he means by F11. I think he means F2 category, or I'm
I also,
not
yeah,
sure.
maybe.
But generally, once you documentarily qualified, it depends on the consulate, but you're waiting at least 6 months to a year for an interview.
All right. So I think Abel has got his answer. And Karen, we also have questions from Facebook group as well. So we would love to take them as well.
Sure.
Yeah. So I hope my screen is visible. Yeah, it does. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So Karen, here's the question that is asked from Ritesh. Hi everyone, I'm preparing my docs for EB1B myself. I need some information regarding filing information in ETA 9089. What parts or sections in ETA form we need to fill specifically for EB1B? Yeah.
Well, for an EB1, you don't need to file Form ETA 9089. For the viewers, an ETA 9089 is a labor certification form. So that's a permanent labor certification. It typically is required to be completed by the employer and the employee in the EB2 or EB3 category. In the EB1 category, there is no ETA 9089 or labor certification. What he may be filing is an EB2 national interest waiver. And in an EB2 national interest waiver, he does need to fill in parts of the ETA 9089 form. That will be his biographical details, name, address, his education, his work experience, all needs to be completed to show why he's an expert.
All right. So I think now we should move ahead with our next question. That is from Kiran K. Rao. Okay, I think we should take some other questions as well. So let's take from Zachary Winston. So here's a question that he's asking: help to immigrate to US by EB4.
Okay, well, I think what he's meaning is a religious worker visa. And a religious worker visa, there is two visas. One is called an R1, which is a religious worker non-immigrant visa that is valid for 2 years and can be renewed again for 2 years. Then there is also a religious worker green card. There's severe backlogs in that category. You would have to be employed in a religious position, so such as a pastor, priest, imam, or in a religious related position. So we've even done religious workers for graphic designers, but they have to be well versed in the New Testament, have to be very familiar with Catholicism because they will be doing graphic design. So you don't always have to be an ordained minister. You can be in a secular job, but that it has religious undertones and requirements.
All right, all right. So I think thank you so much, Karen, for taking these questions up. And I hope our viewers are also getting such information from you, so they are loving it. Okay, so here's another question that I am a 23-year-old software engineer with a bachelor's and master's degree in software engineering, with 5 years of experience, four in remote work and one in office. I specialize in software design, development, and optimization. I'm committed to contributing to US technological advancement and economic growth, and I'm also exploring the EB2 NIW pathway. So, could you please provide the insight into my chances for approval along with any suggestions to strengthen my application?
Okay, that's very, very broad. I would need a lot more information, but things we want to see with a software engineer are, do you have any patents? What programs have you developed that are very unique, that will benefit the national interests of the United States? Um, have you spoken at preeminent conferences? Have you published articles? Do you have 7 to 10 reference letters from experts in the field who can explain why they are experts and why you are an expert in your area, why you have risen to the national interest and are an alien of extraordinary ability? We want to see citation publications to your work, that you've reviewed peer journals, that there are citations to your work. So it's not just that you're a software engineer. There's hundreds of software engineers in the United States. What makes you better than a US citizen who's a software engineer with a master's degree? And what will you do in the national interest of the United States that is required?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's great. And I think, Karen, you literally mentioned it in a very good way that one has to be best in that particular field. And after all, when Trump is under the administration, it's too becoming very difficult, for most of the applicants to apply. So I think the one who will be the best among the rest, I think the competition is too high. So they need to be very much, confident and need to be filled with lots and lots of information. So I think with this, we have another question from Chloe. And she is saying that I have seen too many posts where people request to share the format of the petition, and I have not seen anyone sharing the sample of petition. Is there any format, or just we can use the guidelines of USCIS and write a petition accordingly?
Well, I don't know what petition they're talking about. There's hundreds of
Yeah.
petitions. So different petitions have different formats. But if you're doing it yourself, regardless of which class the petition falls into, I suppose, follow the USCIS format that they put on their website and follow what they require. But I really can't opine to that without knowing what petition. I kind of get upset though with questions like this. It's not a matter of filling in forms, it's a matter of a package. The form, although it has to be completed thoroughly and correctly, your supporting evidence is just as important as the form. Using legal counsel to help you draft the form is important, but the legal counsel can assist you with strategy in showing what are good documents that will help your case and those that may even harm your case.
Right, right. So I think, Chloe, it would be great, if you could let us know that which type of petition you're actually talking about, so that Karen can literally guide you. Okay, so here we have another question that, hi, I'm currently working on L2S. Shall I apply for EAD, or do you think the new government will continue to allow people to work on L2S, which does not require EAD?
I see no harm in getting an EAD if they apply. But whether they get an are they talking about getting an EAD through some other type of visa status, or are they just saying that they on L2S and can get an EAD? I don't think a new administration is going to impact whether, if they get rid of L2 being able to work, it's not going to matter whether you have the L2S, which is evidenced on your I-94 card, or if you have an EAD. If they get rid of that class of document, then they get rid of the class of document, and it won't matter whether you have an L2S or EAD. If you're saying that you qualify for an EAD in some other category, for example, you've in the process of adjusting status, then I would say go ahead and get an EAD, because a Trump administration may get rid of work authorization for spouses of H1B holders or L1 holders.
Right, right. Okay, so I think we are really getting so much information from you, Karen. I think we should pick few more questions from Facebook too as well. So, yeah, here's the question that I'm doing a follow to join for my spouse. I finally got the NVC welcome letter for him. I was asked to fill a DS-261. So, how long did that take to invoice? Also, did you upload documents or were asked to post to NVC? I'm wondering if this is peculiar to EB2.
No, it's not peculiar to EB2. First of all, the form is called a DS-260.
Mm-hmm.
You should get, my team is experts at this, but you should get fee invoices within 2 months of requesting them. You then would pay those pay the fee invoices, and then you would submit your DS-260. Different posts have different requirements. Some posts require you to upload documents. Other posts require you to mail documents to the National Visa Center. So it depends where the consular interview will be.
All right. Okay. Uh, I think we have few more, but let me just check and go through once. All right. So I think Karen, we have almost gone through so many questions, and then we have different questions from viewers too. So I think
Okay.
let's take those questions because I don't want to upset my viewers as well. So here we
Okay.
have received from LinkedIn. Oh God. Okay, it's fine. I hope Karen, you don't mind if we are going to hide you from this.
No
For
problem.
All right. So he's asking, hi, for EB3, what are the requirements? I have exact 2+ years experience and my old company is no more and very small company. Nobody is responding. If I get signed from my colleague, will it cause an issue and whether DOL will do verifications?
And it is possible the Department of Labor will do verifications or ask for additional information, but highly unlikely. In situations like this, it's not ideal. Uh, for the EB3 category, you do have to show at a minimum that you have 2 years of experience as a skilled worker. So it's not enough that you have 2 years experience, but it's the job that requires 2 years of experience. You can get affidavits from colleagues or supervisors who were at the firm if the company is no longer in existence and provide proof of payroll records that you worked there for 2 years. It's not ideal. We always prefer to have a letter on letterhead from the company, but sometimes it does happen that companies close down. You're unable to get an employment experience verification letter, and we do get affidavits from supervisors, colleagues, and show payroll records or bank statements which show the deposit of your salary in bank accounts for at least 2 years.
All right, all right. So this is the question that we received from Tarun. Somehow I can't see his name, but that's okay. Thank you so much, Tarun, for participating. And if in case you still have any follow-up question or any other question that you would like to ask from Karen, then please go ahead. We would love to take those questions from you. And also, Karen, we have few more questions from. Let's take from Ritika. I have a degree and 8 years work experience in my home country. What are my options for obtaining a work visa or green card in the US? And what documentation do I need to provide?
Okay, well, first of all, it's very vague. We would need to see if you qualify as an alien of extraordinary ability for an EB1 visa or an EB2 national interest visa. In that, if you do qualify for either of those visas, you would not need a job offer. If you don't qualify for those visas, then you would need a job offer from a US employer who's willing to sponsor you and pay you a prevailing wage. which is the required wage for the job position. You could then apply for a temporary visa called an H1B, which is for professionals who have a degree. If the job is in a professional position, in a specialized occupation, the employer could also sponsor you for an EB2 green card or EB3 green card. From what you're saying, you have a degree and 8 years of work experience. So if the employer is willing to pay you the prevailing wage for the job, I would go in the EB2 category.
All right. So, Karen, we also have a reply from Tarun, and he's saying that this is like 10 years ago, madam. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Tarun, for sharing this information. And okay, we have also response from Vishwanathan, and he's saying thanks for adding that question, and sorry for the typo. That's completely okay, Vishwanath. That's okay. And thank you so much, for participating, guys. We are really loving this conversation. And Control, I would request to just display the previous question that we have also received from I think I can't pronounce the name, but okay, let's read it out. That is, trust this mail finds you well. Notice that you an expert in H1B visa issues. Please, what is the implications of not entering US after 1 year of H1B visa stamp? The reason is that the US facility has a delay in resumption time, which has prolonged beyond expected time. Would to this delay after the employee?
Well, if you don't have the job available, um, then you can't come into the United States. You don't want to be here not earning a salary. So I don't think a delay of a year, though, will impact the H1B as long as you enter within the 3 years of the H1B stamp. I think you will be fine. You don't need to enter immediately. It often happens that particularly with staffing companies, the projects go away. So you may come in 6 months or a year or even a year and a half later. But as long as you come in during that duration that's stamped on your H1B visa, I don't see there being a problem.
All right. So I think that is very much clear from our side. And next up, also, Karen, we have a follow up question from Vishwanathan. And he is asking that I am part of MNC company with its location in 7 states in US land. Should I take the EB route with the employer sponsor and that too not takes 10 plus years?
Well, it depends where he is a citizen of, but if he's a citizen of India, it is going to take 10 years. But he could also apply for an H1B visa now, and he could come in sooner if he's selected in the lottery.
All right. So I think Vishwanathan, it would be great if you could let us know where you are watching this session and actually where you are trying to apply the application from, so that we could be little specific and could answer it well. Okay. So also I think we have few more questions. So I think let's take them up and yeah, let's take it from Ritika. The another question. So, Karen, Ritika is asking that what are the key difference between temporary and permanent immigration options, and how do I determine which one is right for me?
Well, first of all, it depends on what your long-term goals are. Do you want to permanently live in the United States, or do you want to just come here for a couple of years and then go back to your home country? A temporary visa or non-immigrant visa is a temporary visa that allows you to stay in the United States only for a certain period of time. If you want to continue staying here after that time, you will have to renew the visa. And certain visas, like an H1B, have they have an expiration time. So you can only live in the United States on an H1B visa for a maximum of 6 years, unless you have also been sponsored for a green card and have an approved I-140, which would allow you to extend the H1B past 6 years. So if you only planned on being here for 3 years, then an H1B may be an ideal visa for you. If you are planning on living here after a period of time, you want your employer not only to have sponsored you for an H1B, but you want them to sponsor you for permanent residency, which is an immigrant visa, which allows you to live and work in the United States indefinitely.
All right. So thank you, Karen, for taking these questions. And I'm really sure that our viewers are definitely, getting so much information from these questions. And also, we have received a follow-up from Vishwanathan. He said that he's from India. So, yeah, Karen, I think it will take 10 plus years longer, or yeah,
Yes,
can you please go ahead?
unfortunately, I'm so sorry, and it's probably wait times are going to get longer. So if he doesn't have a non-immigrant visa, I would recommend that he apply for an H1B visa.
All right. So I hope that Vishwanathan, you understood the session, and it would have been really grateful for you too to go ahead and attend this session completely. I'm sure you will definitely understand and go through so many things on this topic. So, Karen, we have almost touched an hour and we didn't realize. That's a great thing. So, Karen, from my side, I really enjoyed this discussion and, is really looking forward to continue these discussions and have more and more sessions together in the future. So, from my
Like,
side, it was great. Yeah. How was you? I mean, how was your experience?
thank you very much for having me on. I really enjoyed it, and I'm happy to do another session with you. Next time, my little associate dog will not be interrupting us, so I do apologize for that.
No, that's all right. After all, he's your associate, so he needs to keep an eye on what Karen is doing. But that's
Right.
completely all right. That happens. And any last message, Karen, that you would like to share with our viewers about the topic, how they can, have their American dream come true.
Do as much research as you can on the type of visas, on attorneys that you're going to use. Make sure that you thoroughly understand the process before embarking on it. It's a relationship with your lawyer, and especially in the case of India, you are going to be working with that lawyer for over a decade. So it's important that you understand each other, understand your goals, that you understand timelines, and just do a lot of due diligence. Immigration website, the USCIS website, which is uscis.gov, has a lot of interesting, very informative information on the various types of visas. We also have videos and blogs and information on our website on all the visas that we've discussed today.
Wow, that's great. And that's absolutely fantastic. So, Karen, thank you. Thank you so much, for making this session an amazing one. I really loved it. Our viewers too. And thank you also, guys, for participating in today's session. Sahil, Ritika, then Riz, Cable, and Tarun, and also Vishwanathan. Thank you so much, guys. It was lovely, lovely answering to your questions. And also to our viewers, guys, if you still have more questions or want to connect with attorney Karen Lee Pollak, then please feel free to reach out on the given contact details. That is, the number is 214-504-1227. The email ID is karenlp@pollakimmigration.com, and the website is www.pollakimmigration.com. All right. So thank you so much, Karen. It was really lovely, lovely having you, and honored to have you with us on Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, wish you and your family happy Thanksgiving. So,
Happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for the privilege of having me on your show today.
oh, pleasure, pleasure. Thank you so much, Karen. And guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. We will bring you more insightful sessions, and we are definitely going to cover a lot and lot of different topics related to immigration. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. See you next video. Thank you so much. I'm Sam signing off for now.